1. So this property, large brand in town. When I started, there was construction going on in the area, and so the construction crews stored equipment on the gravel lot next to the hotel. A few advantageous homeless people would use their equipment storage as a makeshift homeless camp. This became a problem during the day as our hotel had revolving doors and people flooded in and out. They would sneak in to steal things from the hotel. Usually it would just be some tap water or to use our bathrooms. Other times they tried taking from our lobby shop, think snack items. Now I try to be nice to most homeless people. I give the benefit of the doubt. But the people camping across the street were horrible. They would march from their camp every morning and go onto public transport to beg for money. If they got into the hotel, they would harass staff if we caught them. They were angry at us for throwing them out. Some of them snuck in one night and smashed our handicapped bathroom, basically broke the emergency alert. Relieved themselves everywhere on the floor. They managed this about an hour before my shift change. The receptionist at the time was new and did not last long at the property. Was good at the job, though. When I found the bathroom later in the night, I basically took one look, printed a sign saying out of order, and then wrote a report. Cleaned what little I could stomach. Not much I could have done about the smashed alarm and stuff. Those homeless people got so brazen once that as soon as I opened my doors at around 6 a.m., they walked up to me and asked for me to fill their water bottle for them. I told them no, had seen that particular person many times. I asked them to walk back out. They then start to curse at me, think biblical type curses. They also usually took the same train that I did when my shift ended. Morning rush hour, so great for them to beg for change. They would wave at me when I walked by and try to be friendly. They even walked up to one of my coworkers once, when they were on the train, touched their shoulder and said, "Hello there." That person was so freaked out that they stopped taking the train for about a month. Alright, so that's a few of their shenanigans. Here's a longer story about an interesting night I had. At this brand property, for about 1 month we had a problem with one elevator. Usually they were operated by key cards, and you can only go to the lobby and the floor you live on. Nowhere else. If you don't have a key, it goes nowhere. One elevator was malfunctioning, and you could go to any floor with no key card at all. I had started, so our lobby was still open to the public, closed around midnight. This large man comes in, about a head and a half taller than me. I am the average height for my country. He was also of the more rotund body type. He asked if he could borrow our bathroom. I could tell that he had been on the streets for a while, but since he was nice enough to ask, I let him use our facilities. I got busy for a while and realized that I had not seen the man exit. I go to check the hallway where our bathrooms are located. It is connected to our conference rooms. This will be important for later. I could see that the handicapped bathroom was locked. And what did I hear? Snoring. He had decided to use the bathroom as his bed for the night. I knocked and asked him to finish up and leave. He got startled and said sorry. At this point, I went back to the lobby, about 12 steps from the bathrooms. I hear the door open from where I'm standing, expecting him to walk up any second. Nobody. I go back, he is gone. But I see the lights of our conference area, automatic sensors, so I go and check the hallway. All our conference rooms are usually locked by staff at all times, unless someone has booked it. But this late at night, they should not be open at all. I check each door, all locked, and no signs of the man. I then decided to check one more time. But I opened the conference rooms thinking there is no way he could be in there. But in the last room, there he was sitting on a chair. Now comes the excuses from this man, in slightly broken English. "You need to leave now, sir." "I'm simply waiting for a colleague, late-night meeting." "Nope, no you're not, get out." He then stands up and I walk him to the door. As I get back up to the lobby, a guest decided to walk up to me and ask a question. I told them to hold on for a moment. In that second, the homeless man bolts for the elevators and got lucky to take the malfunctioning elevator. I see that he went up to the 6th floor. I am now worried for my other guests and rush upstairs to get him. I hear someone pulling on handles when I'm checking the floors. He is trying all the doors to see if one is open. I then find him sleeping on the floor in the hallway. He is outside of a room that I know is empty. "My father won't let me in. Please open door, I want to sleep." "Nice try." The room is empty. Now come with me at once." He pulls out his wallet stuffed with random junk and cards from stores. He shows me a card that he took from a police station. "I am with police. I need entry to this room. It's important." "Out, now." I finally lead him to the door, and he walks off. This makes for a fun story, but in the moment it was such a headache. I'm just happy that he never got violent since he had the size advantage. 2. So we have 3 new hires that have been here for about a month now. The last 2 we had didn't work out. The first one was fired for drinking on the job, and the second quit 2 or 3 weeks in. Anyway, onto my rant. Since no one else will listen, I am a night auditor at a hotel that's usually a business travel hotel. We do take in reservations from non-business guests, but it's usually for business or sports teams. To start, 2 of them can barely read and write. We have a communication email that is sent out after every shift that recaps their day. What they did, what went down, guest issues, etc. Mind you, their primary language is English, and this property is located in the US. The amount of nights I've seen simple spelling mistakes and run-on sentences is astronomical. It's like me trying to translate a language you already speak sometimes. My breakfast attendant has asked our morning shift multiple times for help on busy days. They usually clap back with, "Well, I don't know what to do," and just stand at the desk on their phones. One guy had the audacity to say, "That's not my job description," and proceed to ignore them like, "What?" Now let's talk about the errors on reservations, folks. It's every day. The biggest is our credit card authorization. How we do it here is we take one in, verify all the information is correct, then, if it's for room and tax only, we split the folio and change the charge routing for this charge to the new one. And the original is used for the guest to insert their card for incidentals. Too many times has the folio not been split and rerouted, and the guest card gets charged for everything. Another big one, double charging. I honestly don't know how this one is happening, but it happens. A lot. It's usually caught during the day and fixed. Probably just as simple as not paying attention to what they're doing. On to the cleanliness of the hotel, specifically the lobby. Most nights trash piled to the rims, tables filthy from breakfast, and even dishes from breakfast left in bins meant to be brought to the kitchen and washed. Coffee area is almost never restocked, and there's sugar and coffee spills everywhere. I understand some of my responsibility is to clean the lobby and kitchen, but it's almost always a disaster area, and I'm not a janitor. What are they typically doing when I walk in, you may ask? Sitting at the desk, on their phone. Makes me want to rip out all of my hair. I've brought this to the attention of management several times. All I get is, "We know, we're working on it," or "Don't worry, we're making changes soon." But dear listeners, like I said, it's been at least a month. I feel like I'm alone in this. I have found a hotel nearby that is a competitor to the one I'm at now, and I'm looking into it. I guess someone who worked here in the past is there now, and it was one of the best decisions they ever made. Wish me luck there. But that's all. I'm sure there's more that is currently clouded by my endless sea of rage. I just wanted to get this off my chest to some strangers. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some cleaning to do. 3. A little bit of history. I work as a night auditor. I've been working at this hotel for a little over 7 years, but only at the front desk for 5 years now. You see, this hotel had a brand change a few months before I started working at it, and the owners continuously postponed the renovations. Last year, around November, we finally started on the bathrooms, and then took a small break while we waited on the furniture to arrive. We finally started renovating again in the second week of July, and this past week we finished up the rooms entirely. We just now have the lobby, floors and hallways, breakfast area, and meeting room left. Due to the renovations, several of our parking spaces are taken up by a dumpster, trailers, and pallets. We are a relatively small hotel with only 58 rooms, but we already suffered from a small parking lot before any of these spaces were taken. Now all of our rooms renovated and up, but because of where we are located, we are completely sold out with linemen, government workers, etc., who are all here to help the communities who were affected by Hurricane Helen. Tonight, as I get into work, I find out that at 3 a.m., 2 of the trailers are finally being moved. But no one can be parked next to them. Well, shoot. I have to move my car, but whatever, the bigger deal is the vehicle parked on the other end. I move my car and take down the plate of the other vehicle, and my coworker calls all the rooms whose registration cards have no vehicle information. Most of the rooms don't answer their phones, so I go around knocking on those doors while my coworker calls even the rooms with vehicle info on them. Everyone we spoke to said they drove something else, and that they have no idea whose vehicle it is. We relay this information to our manager. I personally call her twice and tell her no one claims the car, and that some people didn't even answer. She sighs and gets snappy with me, saying that second-shift coworker was told to make sure that no one parked in those spots. So I tell my manager that it isn't my coworker's fault, and there is only so much that we can do. It isn't our fault. The hotel has no cameras for us to see when someone parks, and that my coworker told everyone she saw not to park there. But that not everyone comes into the hotel through the main lobby. She then tells me that it is our issue, and she refuses to call the owner about this, and that she refuses to have the vehicle towed because she's afraid of being sued. My coworker and I again try to knock on all the doors of the rooms that never answered, and we manage to speak with a few more guests, but we still don't find who it belongs to. My manager is texting back and forth with my coworker, and she tells us we need to put some chairs in front of the open parking spot to block it off, hoping that the truck can remove the trailers from just one end. So now I'm sitting here with a little over an hour to kill, dreading the phone call from the truck and their arrival. Wish me luck. Here's hoping they can move the trailers with no issues. 4. For some context, this is in South Florida. I do not work at the front desk, however, I do work in the main lobby. Because of the hurricane and tropical storm winds, making it to work required detours due to damage. Some staff even had to sleep at the resort for the sake of making it to work. All of this is a joint effort to be there for the guests. And in walks Ms. Bitch, checking in up at the front desk with her husband and a German shepherd on a leash, claiming that he was a service dog. We don't allow pets, but as per ADA, we have no other way to confirm, so many people get by the rules. While they are checking in, a child runs out the lobby and past the dog, which immediately starts barking and lunging, being pulled back by the husband. Thankfully, the kid wasn't any closer, or it would have been much worse. Immediately, the front desk manager calmly explains that typically a service dog wouldn't react in that manner to someone running nearby, and in the event that it is found to not be a service animal, she will be fined. This sets her off.
You calling me a liar? Who are you? Where's your manager? Get me the previous GM. Where is the previous GM?
It's at this point that her husband reminds her that the GM had actually passed away earlier this year. She doesn't calm in the slightest at this news and continues.
I'm an American, I know the rules, you don't tell me the rules.
The front desk manager is a Latina who speaks fluent English with a notable accent, and he responds calmly, "What do you mean by that?" She then responds,
Nothing, I'm just saying my last name isn't Spanish. I'm a psychiatrist, I know what the rules are.
At this point, the others and I are looking at her and exchanging glances because her behavior is just astounding, especially in a time like this.
When she says, my schooling goes far above yours. Don't you tell me what the rules are.
I stand up and start telling her about her own behavior. I knew my department manager would understand, and as a Latina, I hated to see him so blatantly disrespected. She then told me I needed a new job to mind my own business and to
shut your mouth.
At this point, our senior concierge, the world's most level-headed saint, stood up, and I took that as a sign to sit down. She explained the same thing our front desk manager did, except she wasn't a person of color, so Ms. Bitch was much calmer when speaking to her. Later on, she stopped by my desk, demanded my name, and my manager and I kept smiling straight at her, and told her when my manager would be in next. And that was that. I called my manager and got a call from our standing GM who said even she understood that this woman was a character. Truly, I hope she isn't normally like this. Perhaps it's stress from the storm, but Her hatred truly disgusted me to no end. How can a psychiatric nurse practitioner be so distasteful? She would later leave a review claiming that she was verbally assaulted, claiming the child was yelling and causing a scene. The child did nothing of the sort, again, he simply ran by. And claims she now identifies as a child to be able to do whatever she wants. God, the nerve. 5. Just wanted to share this experience with all of you. Working at a Chariot 3-star, only been about a month since I started. Apparently this one guy checked in, Titanium Elite, with himself and son, and then a bit later his son's wife comes in as well, along with this other couple. In total, 3 different reservations for them. He's a regular who stays about twice a year with us apparently. Asked a couple of colleagues, and it's always a few different couples that he brings along. Nothing too weird to start off. A little snobby though, since he insisted on a cheaper rate than he booked with, and only insisted on paying $20 each. $100 is our incidental. Our front desk manager told me to allow it. Okay. The whole time he was very rude and snobby, not very Christian behavior. The next few days he sits along with the other gentlemen he came with. During this time, about 4 or 5 different women would come in and sit down with them and chat. Never could overhear their convo, and so I thought nothing of it. Then, the next day, his son comes up to me, it's a slow day, with few arrivals, and chats with me. He asks about my name, Muslim-sounding name, asks me my religion, and tells me he's a Christian. I'm like, oh, cool. Then tells me how Jesus saved him and yada yada. I'm telling him how I'm not very religious and this and that, and he asks me if I think about Jesus, and I'm like, not really, sometimes I guess. He gave me his number and said to reach out whenever and he will invite me to one of their gatherings. Then the weird part comes. He comes up again after an hour or so and tells me the gentleman with him, and his father, is a minister for a church or something. He asks me if I'm willing, he can offer me a special prayer and a small talk. I said, nah, I'm okay. His face kind of changed from smiley to like an angry face, and that was the last he spoke with me. Then I started noticing how the son's wife and the other gentleman's wife are always sitting separately, and I noticed the way in which the men would call on them, like in a very disrespectful way, and then tell them to go fetch things for them, and even tie their shoelaces like WTF. So now I'm convinced something's not right here. Are these women held against their will? They seemed pretty content, though. Then I put 2 and 2 together and realized were these men holding meetings with those different women these past few days to recruit them to their weird cult or something. I don't know, but I just felt really weird about it all. Whenever they come, they also book our conference room and hold these sermon-type meetings. But this time they didn't. I don't know, what do you guys think about all this? They check out tomorrow, and I'm just standing in my lobby right now typing this out because I had time. I could let my GM know, but he will probably just tell me to mind my own business next time. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Coahw, episode 157. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and why not support me on my Patreon page, which is linked in the description. You'll get the videos early on a Monday all at once. Okay, there's no other business today, so let's move along to Hellfreezer's question of the day, and today's question is: foodstuffs you used to dislike but you've come to appreciate later in life. I used to I love cheese, right? That's not a controversial thing to say, but I used to quite dislike Stilton, like the blue cheese. I found it a very overpowering and unpleasant flavor, but I have discovered later in life I actually quite enjoy it because your taste buds do change as you get older. And it's really good to throw in, like, I like to throw dishes together with like chicken and veg and rice and things, so throw a little bit of that in there. It's a really good flavoring, and it just makes a really nice, strong, flavorful cheese sauce. So that's one of mine. Why don't you let me know what you think in a comment below. And before we go, let's have the answer of the day from a previous video. This one comes from Coahw 156, and I think it was about dealing with snow, like how do you prefer to get rid of it? Today's answer comes from Kathy Beckford. I shovel. About 5 years ago, when I lived in an apartment a few blocks away, I was trying to dig my car out. It was going slow since there was a lot of snow. A neighborhood kid came by and made quick work of it while I was helping. It was like I was a toddler shoveling. I asked him what he was charging, and he said he was just helping people out. God bless him. Thank you very much for your answer, Kathy. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.